Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got some Battlefield 4 gameplay for you, but instead of my normal PC Battlefield 4 gameplay, today what I've got is PlayStation 4 Battlefield. Yes, what you're seeing right here is the 1080p 60 FPS PlayStation 4 Battlefield. Well, you're not seeing the 60 FPS because unfortunately YouTube is only limited to 30, but the gameplay was actually in 60 while I was playing it. I'm playing Rush on Operation Locker, and yes, I'm playing as an engineer on this map, which is a map where engineers are pretty much useless, but that's all I play in Battlefield. I mean, I am an engineer, I have a degree in engineering, and I like being anti-tank, so I specialize in my engineer class, and I figured I would just level up my carbines and my PDWs a little bit in this gameplay. What I wanted to talk to you about today is, if you get Battlefield on PlayStation 4, what should you expect, how does it compare to PC, and how does it compare to, I guess you would call it last generation, or current generation, and not next, you know, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. I will say from my experience playing the 360 and PlayStation 3 versions that this one is much better looking. The gameplay is more or less the same. There's a few more things you can destroy here, but the looks make a huge difference. Unfortunately, the current gen console versions are a little bit on the ugly side of things, but these are more like PC, or at least the PlayStation 4. I haven't played the Xbox One version yet. This looks a lot like my PC when I put the settings on medium. I normally play PC on high settings with some other options I've goofed with, but this looks more like my PC when I put it on medium with maybe one or two of the other options on low. It doesn't have quite the same lighting effects. As you can clearly see, there are lighting effects, like when grenades go off and when I shoot it flashes and light reflects, but it's not quite as sophisticated as whatever my graphics card was doing on PC, and some of the textures are not quite as detailed. You'll definitely see this in Siege of Shanghai when the building falls. All those texturing and all that gravel around the collapsed building has been very hard to do on consoles, even though it works very well on PC. Some of the other things we have is that it does run at 60 FPS, at least from what my eyes tell me. I don't have a method of testing that on PlayStation, but it runs at a high frame rate, and it runs at a consistently high frame rate. The only time that I've had FPS drops was when I was live streaming, running the game, and trying to do some other things in the menus that made it a little bit angry, but just playing the game itself and doing the game, I haven't had any FPS drops that I can think of. The audio is the same. There were some people concerned about there being surround sound or not surround sound, but in my experience it's the same. One of the neat features on the PlayStation 4 is that it has an audio plug. It's a 3.5mm plug there on the headset, and you can take any headsets and plug it in, not on the headset, on the controller. The controller has a 3.5mm, so you can take like PC headsets, iPhone earbuds, anything that uses a standard headphone jack, and plug it straight into the controller and run audio out through that, which is a really, really neat feature. So if you don't have Astros or like next-gen headsets or whatever, you can plug in just about anything you have into that and it works fine. Some of the other things, the fire looks crisp, the explosions look good, the smoke is good, visually good. What resolution? This one runs at 1600 by 900 or 900p on the PlayStation version. The Xbox One version will be 1280 by 720 natively, both of them upscaled. It's not true 1080p, but at least here I certainly didn't notice a difference or have a problem with it. There are some questions about the levolution and the weather effects and the destruction. As far as I can tell, I haven't seen any difference between that and the PC version. I've played a lot more maps than this, but I haven't seen any difference. The other things I would mention is that there's a little bit less reflections on the water maps and where there is like shiny surfaces and mirrors and glass and stuff. On PC I get a little bit of reflections. On this they're toned down a little bit. This actually has better anti-aliasing on my PC. My graphics card on the PC doesn't do anti-aliasing very well at all, so I have a lot of jaggies there, whereas this actually has some anti-aliasing and not as many jaggies. Although I do load much faster on my PC, but that is also maybe because I have a solid state drive, so that's to be expected. Nothing. There's the fire effect I was talking about. I got killed because I was looking at it. I was like, ooh, pretty shiny. And there are some questions about gameplay. How does the gameplay compare to PC, and do all the features carry over? All the same options, all the same classes and guns that I saw. Even the Commander, you can play Commander on this. I'm not high enough level to do it yet, or not of the time as of this gameplay, but I actually did have some people playing Commander in other games that I was in. So that's all there. There's no auto-aim past a couple of meters. There is auto-aim within maybe 10 to 15 meters, but unlike Call of Duty, your long-range engagements will not have any auto-aim. As a primarily COD player, this screwed me up because I was swiping past people waiting for the auto-aim to stick, and I had to do quite a bit of adjusting to get back and get used to it, because, you know, it's really easy to aim with the mouse or whatever, which, of course, it's easier to aim with the mouse. It's a mouse. That's how it goes. But I think that not having auto-aim is a good feature. Ooh, frag double kill. I like. It was harder to to control the recoil because I'm so used to mouse aiming on PC. This is probably the first game where I've only played on PC and then gone back to console to look for differences, so I'm getting a little bit of bias there. It is harder to spot people here on the console. Your spot is the R1 button on PlayStation. I'm assuming it'll be right bumper on Xbox. So you kind of have to choose between spotting and shooting unless you run the akimbo fingers, but generally speaking, people don't spot as much. The Q key is much easier on PC. I actually prefer walking around with the sticks. I get a greater sensitivity and direction of movement versus WASD. I don't appreciate aiming with the sticks, but I do like WASD. I think you can do mouse and keyboard on PlayStation. I think PlayStation has full mouse and keyboard support. I don't know if Xbox does or not. And the only other, I guess you could say, downside is that there's not a lot of communication on this version. I think that's common for PlayStation. PlayStation, not a lot of people use mics or whatever, so there's not a lot of call-outs or people talking, though there is quite a lot of teamwork. Most of the people in my squad worked pretty well together, just doing their jobs and playing their roles and doing what they were supposed to do, regardless of the lack of no mic. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.